Right, so in this video, we are going to review how to operate on integers. And this does not involve an operating room. So what we're talking about here is really adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing integers. Okay, those are the operations that we can perform on integers. So then, what is an integer is also a question that we need to answer here. So integers are whole numbers, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., and the opposite of those whole numbers. So -1, -2, -3, -4, etc. So we get this number line type thing going on here. Okay. So let's take a look first at how to multiply and divide integers. So we're going to have some examples here where there's one negative and where there's two negatives. Obviously, if we have no negatives, so both positives, our answers are going to be positive. So let's take a look at what happens when we have these negatives going on. So when we have one negative value, we have -3 times 4. That's going to get us an answer of -12. But if we have two negative values, so -3 times -4, remember parentheses when there's just a number inside them means to multiply. So -3 times -4 gets us a +12. Then if we look at a division problem, 16 divided by -2 is going to get us -8, and -16 divided by -2 is a +8. So what's happening here? Well, anytime we have one negative, we're going to get a negative answer when we multiply or divide. And anytime we have two negatives when we multiply or divide, we are going to get a positive answer. So this is for multiplication and division. So let's take a look now at adding and subtracting with one negative or two negatives. Remember, obviously, whenever we have add or subtract two positive numbers, for the most part, we're going to get positive numbers. So let's look here at -3 plus -4. That gets us -7. So two negatives is going to get us a negative answer when we add them. Then we get +3 plus a -4. That gets us -1. So when we have one negative answer, well, let's take a look at this one. So what happens here? So we have -3 plus 4. That gets us a +1. So here, it's dependent on what sign is larger. And what we mean by larger is which one's farther away from 0. So which one has the larger absolute value. So what we do whenever we add integers with different signs is we subtract those integers. So here 4 minus 3 is 1. And since 4 is bigger than 3 and 4 is negative, we get a -1 here. Okay. Some of you recognize the little sing-song kind of rhyme that goes along with this, which is the same sign keep and add, different signs subtract. Okay, and then after that it says keep the sign of the bigger number and then you'll be exact. So that's why we need to have the sign of the bigger number there. So whenever we are subtracting, however, remember when we subtract, we change this to addition by adding the opposite. So instead of taking -3 minus 4, we change, or -3 minus -4 up here, we change these to addition whenever we subtract integers, and then we add. So we're going to add, but when we add here, we have to add the opposite. So -3 minus 4 is the same thing as -3 plus -4, which is a -7, because we have two negatives and we're adding them. Same thing up here, we have -3 minus -4. In this case, our minus here becomes a plus, as does this here because we have to change this sign. So here we get -3 plus a +4, which we do our same sign keep and add, different sign subtract. So 4 minus 3 is 1, and since 4 is positive and it's bigger, we're going to have +1. So just to review here, when we multiply and divide, if one of our integers is negative, our answer is negative. If both of them are negative, then our answer is positive. And when we are adding and we crossed out subtraction because we changed subtraction to addition. We add the opposite. So whenever we are adding integers, if we have one negative, we're going to subtract our integers and use the sign of the number that's larger or has a greater absolute value. And then if both of our integers are negative and we're adding them, then we're going to have a negative answer. Okay? And then it kind of goes without saying that if we're adding two positive numbers, our answer is going to be positive. And if we're multiplying and dividing two positive numbers, our answer is still going to be positive.